Is the enhanced Gen 4.5 just another foam core experiment, or is it quietly on its way to becoming one of the best all-court paddles of the year? Enhanced Pickleball isn't a household name just yet, but they've been building paddles for years, mostly known for their flagship training tool, the Dink Master Pro. The Gen 4.5 is their most ambitious release yet, a full foam core build with sealed internal air cells, designed to boost energy return, enlarge the sweet spot, and deliver a crisp, controlled feel without giving up pop. It swings heavier than average, but plays balanced in hand and clean across the face. Quick heads up, Gen 4.5 is just the name of the paddle, not a reference to its actual generation, at least in my point of view. Technically, this is a Gen 4 build, full foam core, no polymer honeycomb in the hitting surface. The name might trip up some of the spec nerds, but for the other 95% of the players, it does a decent job of signaling where Enhance is aiming, right at the front edge of the foam core movement. If you're a player who values consistency and forgiveness across the court, with just enough punch to close the point, this paddle checks a lot of boxes. Enhance sent me this paddle for testing. There's no paid involvement, and as always, you can use code MPB to save $20 off this purchase if you decide to pick one up. So let's break down the build, how it plays, how it stacks up against the top foam core paddles of 2025, including the Carbon True Foam Genesis and the Honolulu Pickleball J2 series. At the core of the Gen 4.5 is a single-layer expanded polypropylene foam, EPP, shaped with a proprietary radial void system. These aren't just drilled holes through the face. The air pockets are sealed within the core, which means they compress under impact but retain internal pressure. That's what gives this paddle its distinctive rebound feel, controlled, consistent, and a touch springy like a Gen 3, but not in an unpredictable way. The voids are arranged in a radial pattern, centered around the sweet spot. In the middle, you've got circular cavities for uniform compression. Toward the edges, those pockets taper into teardrop shapes, wider near the center, tighter at the perimeter, to create a gradual stiffness transition from center to edge. The goal here is to maximize responsiveness where you want it and reinforce structure where you need it. On top of that, you're looking at 3 layers of raw T700 carbon fiber sheets per side, wrapped over the edge in a unibody thermoformed shell. It's not just about stiffness or pop, it's about consistency across the face. In the handle, Enhance integrates a polypropylene honeycomb insert fused to the foam with a proprietary bonding process to eliminate flex and improve hand feedback. So while it looks like your standard carbon build on the surface, what's underneath puts it squarely in Gen 4 territory, a refined evolution of full foam core construction tuned for energy return, feel, and edge-to-edge performance. The Gen 4.5 is an elongated 16mm paddle measuring 16.5 inches long by 7.5 inches wide. It comes with a 5.75-inch handle and a 4.125-inch grip circumference, plenty of room for two-handers, and a comfortable shape for all-court grip transitions. My test unit came in at 8.07 ounces static with a swing weight of 118.85 and a twist weight of 6.25. It's got real mass through the ball and stays stable on contact, with a swing profile that feels more deliberate than quick. Twist weight is in the middle of the pack. Fine for most players, though not the most forgiving option on extreme off-center hits. The serve speed clocked in at 56.4 miles per hour, punch volleys at 36.4, and spin measured at 2,254 RPM. That puts it in the 74th percentile for serve speed, 43rd for pop, and 72nd for spin. You get solid power off the serve, moderate explosiveness up close, and top-tier spin potential for shaping drives and rolls. The bounce point is 24.6 centimeters, giving it a slightly head-biased feel, noticeable but not overbearing. And the measured firepower score is 58, which puts it right in that all-court sweet spot, enough to finish points without giving up control. There's only one shape available, elongated, so if you're after something more compact or wide, this isn't it. But if reach, spin leverage, and consistent response across a longer frame are what you're after, the Gen 4.5 holds its ground. The first thing you notice when you hit with the Gen 4.5 is how balanced the face response is. There's no central hotspot or dead zones. It plays soft in the middle, firm enough on the edges, and consistent across the board. Contact feels controlled and connected. You get feedback without sting and enough dwell to trust your resets and drops without the ball floating or hanging. Drives come off with controlled depth. On paper, swing weight is 118.85, right in line with paddles like my Yola Perseus, but in hand, it swings a little slower. Not heavy or sluggish, just more deliberate on first move. It's the kind of thing you notice when you're switching between paddles with similar numbers, noticeable but not performance limiting. Punch volleys clocked in at 36.4 miles per hour, which puts it on the lower end of pop, but it still holds up in hand battles. The structure and balance keep it composed under pressure. I didn't feel handcuffed, even without adding weight. Where it shines is in the soft game. The foam core and radial void system give it the right amount of give. You can take pace off, deaden the ball, or drop it with touch, and the paddle doesn't overshoot or feel unpredictable. It's tuned and responsive without being vague. I tested both stock and with 6 grams of tungsten in the throat. It took the extra weight well, added depth and a touch more stability without compromising feel. What stood out most is how plush this paddle feels compared to other foam cores. It's softer on contact than the J2NF or GX2 Power, but still delivers a linear connected response. There's no trampoline effect or hot center, just smooth, predictable rebound across the face. Whether you're rolling, resetting, or countering, it stays composed and easy to control. If there's a limitation, it's in forgiveness. With a twist weight of 6.25, it's not quite in the same class as paddles like the J2NF or True Foam Genesis when you're off center. You'll feel a bit more face torque, but on clean contact, the response is rock solid and consistent. Overall, it's a well-executed all-court paddle with great feel, balanced power, and no need for customization right out of the box. So again, the Gen 4.5 only comes in one shape, elongated, and it's a true elongated frame, 16.5 inches long by 7.5 inches wide with a 5.75-inch handle. That gives you the typical trade-offs: more reach at full extension, a bit more leverage on drives, and higher spin potential from the added paddle length. What you give up is a touch of forgiveness and maneuverability compared to a hybrid or standard shape. In play, this shape feels balanced, slightly tip-heavy, but also not feather-light either. The swing weight is just over 118, so it's got real plow-through contact, especially on drives and counters. If you're used to something quicker in hand like the True Foam Genesis 2 or the standard J2NF shapes, this will feel more deliberate, but in a good way. It holds its line and doesn't get blown off course in fast exchanges. You don't get a wide body style sweet spot, but the radial foam layout and unibody build do a good job keeping the response consistent across the full length of the face. That's one of the upsides of faux foam. Even on an elongated frame, you don't feel like you're punished for hitting a little high or toward the edge. So if you play with depth, want full court coverage, or use two hands regularly, this shape makes a lot of sense. But if you rely on fast hands and need every edge and maneuverability, this might swing a little heavy depending on your setup. The Gen 4.5 plays more like the J2 FC Plus lane than it does the Carbon True Foam Genesis or J2NF. If you're looking for a full foam core paddle that leans plush and still feels responsive and connected, this gets you most of the way there. Compared to the FC Plus, the Gen 4.5 is a touch denser in feel, more feedback, slightly less speed through the hands, and a bit more deliberate on quick exchanges. Where the FC Plus is quicker and more forgiving off-center, the Gen 4.5 feels firmer and more planted. What really separates it is that it's the plushest of the three, but still linear. There's no hot spot in the center, no non-linear burst like you get on the True Foam Genesis or Ripple V2, just clean, predictable energy return. The True Foam Genesis, by contrast, feels more muted and detached. It's stiffer and at the cost of energy return. If you played the True Foam Genesis and found it a little flat on contact, excluding the random jumps off the center, the Gen 4.5 will play more engaged, especially on counters and in transition. All three are top-tier foam builds with serious spin and large sweet spots, but the Gen 4.5 clearly aligns more with the FC Plus in terms of purpose: balanced, consistent, and comfortable in that all-court category. The Gen 4.5 is a strong fit for all-court players who value consistency, control, and soft touch, but still want enough pop to stay aggressive when needed. If you generate your own pace and want a paddle that plays clean across the face, absorbs pace without collapsing, and gives you the room to work with spin and depth, this one fits that profile. It's also a logical step for anyone who found the Carbon True Foam Genesis too muted or detached and wants more clarity and response from a foam core build. And for players who've been curious about foam core paddles but hesitant because of price or feel concerns, this is one of the more accessible entries, both in performance and cost. That said, it's probably not the right fit if you're chasing max pop at the net or want a paddle that's ultra quick in hand. It doesn't swing as fast as the True Foam Genesis 4 or J2 series, and it won't give you the raw explosiveness of something like the J2 NF or GX2 Power or Ripple V2. It's also not the most forgiving option on mishits. If you're often late or catching the edge, look for something with a higher twist weight. But if you're looking for a paddle that plays with control, good touch, softer feel, excellent spin, and a consistent feedback across the face, the Gen 4.5 is worth a serious look. The enhanced Gen 4.5 retails for $174, and with code NPB you can knock $20 off, bringing it down to $154. At that price, it's one of the most affordable foam core builds on the market, especially when you stack it against others like the J2 FC Plus or Carbon True Foam Genesis, which lands well north of $270. The paddle includes a 365-day core warranty, which covers internal core failure or collapse from normal play, a rarity at this price point. It doesn't cover delamination, which I think it should, nor edge impacts or cosmetic wear. Still, the core coverage alone is a good signal that Enhance is standing behind this new build. Standard returns are allowed within 14 days if the paddle is unused or only lightly tested, though there's a $15 restocking fee, and the customer is responsible for return shipping. Now, to be fair, none of us really know how long faux foam core paddles will last. The strong assumption is that they'll hold up better than traditional honeycomb cores, which tend to develop dead spots and structural fatigue over time. But it's still early. This is a new class of builds, and it's going to take real-world testing over months and maybe years to know for sure. The Gen 4.5 delivers strong value, especially for players looking to step into full foam core tech without committing to a $250 plus paddle. So if you've been hunting for an elongated foam core paddle that plays in the same lane as the J2 FC Plus, not identical but clearly a relative, the enhanced Gen 4.5 is one of the better new entries in 2025. You're getting top-tier spin, reliable depth, and a clean, soft response that doesn't require heavy customization. With code MPB, the price drops to $154, and you're getting a full foam core build with a 365-day core warranty, something rarely offered at this tier. If you played the J2 series, the True Foam Genesis, or other foam core builds, let me know how the Gen 4.5 stacks up for you. The buy link and full paddle data are down below, and you can always compare specs and sort by shape at mattspickleball.com. Just click on Paddle Finder. If this review helped you, consider subscribing for more paddle deep dives just like this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.